Hey guys, today we're talking about function tables. So what is a function? It's a relationship that assigns exactly one input to exactly one output. And the input is what we put into the equation, and the output is the result of that equation. So take a second and write these down in your notebook for me. Okay, so we represent functions in tables and on graphs, but we're going to focus on just the tables. Each table is made up of an independent input and a dependent output. So the input is plugged into something and an output is then created. So in this case, 1 is plugged in and 2 comes out. 2 is plugged in and 4 comes out. 3 is plugged in and 6 comes out. So the function that we're plugging it into is x plus 2. If I plugged in 1 for x, I would get, x times 2. I don't know what I was thinking. If I plugged in 1 for x, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so let's look at this one. I want you to take a second and I want you to think. If you had x as 1, you're going to substitute 3 times 1. Write that in on your paper and sketch this table for me. Then what I want you to do is plug in 1, 2, 3, and 4 separately, each for x, and come up with the output. Okay, so in this first one, after you're done sketching, you should have paused and done that. 3 times 1 is 3. If I plug in 2 into this, it would be 3 times 2 is 6. Plug in 3, 3 times 3 is 9, and plug in 4, 3 times 4 is 12. So I like to think of this as something like a vending machine. Like if I plug in 1, output is a 3, okay? So if I go up to a vending machine and I hit button 1, out comes Skittles, or I hit button 2 and out comes 6 Skittles, okay, or whatever you want to say here. So each input gives you an output. All right, so now try creating a function table on your own here. The input is x and the output is y. I want you to start with 0, then 1, 2, 3, and you get to pick whatever number you want here. Okay, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, grab your red pen. If you plug in 2 for x, or 0 for x, you get 2 times 0, which is 0, plus 3 is 3. Remember, you're doing order of operations. Okay, if I plug in 1, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. If I plug in 2, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7. If I plug in 3, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And finally, whatever number you picked, if you plugged it in, you have to multiply by 2 first and then add 3. I picked 10, and 2 times 10 is 20, plus 3 is 23. Do me a favor and create a little bit more on your table so that way you can add in my 10 along with whatever number you picked. I'm going to be looking for your number. Okay, try this one. Let's create a function table for this one. Starting at 0 always and going up by 1s, but then let's pick, I don't know, let's do 5. Okay, go ahead and try and figure out what these would be, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, have your red pen handy and check your work. So on the first one, 70 times 0 is 0, plus 40 is 40. 70 times 1 is 70, plus 40 is 110. 70 times 2 is 140, plus 40 is 180. Okay, so we got 180 for that one. Now let's do 3. 70 times 3 is 210, plus 40 is 250. And the last one, 70 times 5, gives us 350, plus our 40, and that gives us 390. So now let's look at a real-world situation. Johnny wants to go to Six Flags. It costs $20 to get in, plus $5 for every ride he goes on. Write an equation that can be used to describe this situation. Okay, so we have the cost to get in, so a ticket, right? Plus the $5 for rides, but we have to times the rides by the amount of money that each ride costs. Because I could ride one ride for $5, or I could ride 2 for 5 times 2, which is 10, right? Or 3 for $15, which is really 3 times 5. So for the tickets, we're plugging in 20. For the rides, we are plugging in $5, but we don't know how many rides. So it's 20 plus 5x equals, or excuse me, our y. So y equals 5x plus 20 if we want to rewrite it. Rewrite it for me on your paper right now. You should have both of these written down. So if we wanted to create a function table to see how much he will spend if he goes on 1, 2, 3, or 4 rides, then we're going to have our input x, and let's make another column. We're going to do a 3 column this time, and our output y. Okay, so it costs for one ride $20 plus 5 times 1. So 20 plus 5, which gives us 25. For 2 rides, it costs us 20 plus 5 times 2, or 10, which gives us 30. For 3, it costs 20 plus 5 times 3, or 15, which gives us 35. And for 4, it costs 20 plus 5 times 4, which is 20, or $40. And that's all I have for you, and I will see you next time.